All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about that magic, really, that makes modern apps feel so alive. And that magic is all about digital motion, specifically animation in SwiftUI.
You know, this idea is really the soul of what we're talking about today. See, we're not just, shuffling pixels around. It's not about just getting from point A to point B. We're trying to give our digital interfaces this illusion of life, to make them feel less like some cold, dead machine and more like something organic, something that responds to you.
And really, at its core, it's surprisingly simple. I mean, think about it. Every single animation you have ever seen, no matter how slick or complex it looks, it all boils down to this one thing: a change from a start state to an end state. That's it. It starts here and it ends there. The real magic, the part we're going to get into, is what happens on that journey between those 2 points.
Okay, so let's get into the core animation recipe. This is how we go from static to dynamic. So how does that journey actually work? Well, it's really all powered by the simple 3-part recipe. It's kind of like the blueprint for taking any boring old static thing and making it, well, dynamic.
So it's this simple. You have a start, the change happens, and then you have a stop. Now, here's what's so incredible, so beautiful about working with SwiftUI. You only have to worry about the first and last parts. Seriously. You're just defining the view's initial state, where it begins, and its final state, where it ends. And SwiftUI, the framework itself, it does all the heavy lifting. It handles that change part, smoothly filling in all the gaps, all the frames in between. It's an amazing deal.
But of course, that change doesn't just happen, right? Something has to kick it all off. We need a trigger. And these triggers are basically signals that tell SwiftUI, all right, it's go time. A button tap, maybe a value changing somewhere, a screen appearing, or even you, the user, doing a gesture like a drag or a tap. These are the events that get the whole animation party started.
All right, let's talk about controlling time and feel, or as I like to call it, giving animation a personality. Because, okay, we know how to start an animation now, but how do we control its vibe? How do we make it feel energetic or graceful or, really serious? This is where we stop being just coders and we start becoming directors.
And the way we do that is with something called an animation curve. This is the secret ingredient. This curve is what dictates the whole feel of a movement. It controls the speed throughout the animation. Is it going to be sudden and jarring? Is it going to be gentle and reassuring? Or is it going to be perfectly robotic? This is how you give your animation its unique character. So let's look at some of the main ones. You see, these simple curves are super powerful because they kind of map to real-world physics. A linear curve, for example, is a constant robotic speed. It feels unnatural because, well, nothing in the real world moves at a perfectly constant speed forever. But then you have something like ease out. This one starts fast and then slows to a stop. Think about a car gently braking. It feels incredibly natural, right? That's why it's probably the most common curve out there. It feels right to our brains.
But we can go even further than these simple curves. I mean, way further. So now, let's move on to physics, bounce and springs. This is where we start making things feel really real.
Yeah, so spring animations, this is where things get fun. They add this realistic bounce and life to things, making the interface feel tactile, like you can almost touch it. This is the point where digital objects stop just being pixels and they start feeling like they have actual real-world properties. They're not just moving anymore. They're reacting with energy, with weight, with momentum. It's like every element is connected to this tiny, invisible spring.
And check this out. These are the key parameters you can play with. You've got stiffness, that's how fast the spring moves. You've got damping, that's how much you reduce the bounce. And you've got mass, which is how heavy the object feels. Is it a feather or is it a bowling ball? This is where you get to be a digital physicist, for real. You can fine-tune these properties to get the exact feel you want. Want it to be super snappy? Crank up the stiffness. Too much wobble? Add some more damping. You are literally crafting the laws of physics inside your app's universe.
And what's cool is that SwiftUI gives you the right tool for the job. You've got options. For most of your day-to-day bouncy effects, the simple spring function is perfect. It's great for most cases. But
when you need that absolute fine-grained, granular control over the physics, the stiffness, damping, and mass to create a really specific custom effect, that's when you bring out the big gun, interpolating spring.
Okay, now for the shape-shifting illusion, the magic trick. For my money, this is the most impressive, most mind-blowing illusion in an animator's entire toolkit. This is the effect that makes modern apps feel, well, truly magical.
So how do apps make one object magically morph into another, right across the screen? You've seen this a million times, right? You tap on a tiny little thumbnail, maybe in a photo gallery, and it just, boom, seamlessly grows and expands and transforms, becoming this big, beautiful header on a completely new screen. How is that even possible?
Well, it all starts with state 1, a small thumbnail image in a list, a simple, self-contained element. Let's just say it's this little image sitting in a grid. This is our starting point.
And then you get state 2, a full-screen detail view of that same image. And the transition, it feels like one single fluid motion. That little thumbnail just appears to expand, to reshape itself into this completely different thing. It really does look like a single object that's shape-shifting right before your eyes.
So, what's the secret? It's not actually magic. It's an incredibly powerful tool called Matched Geometry Effect. This effect creates an animated transition between two views, giving the illusion that they are the same element. And here's the key. You are not animating one view into another. You're actually telling SwiftUI that two completely separate views are conceptually the same thing. And once you do that, it builds that entire seamless transition for you. It's just amazing.
And the recipe for this magic trick is surprisingly simple. Seriously, here it is. First, you give both views, the little one and the big one, a matching ID. Then you put them in the same namespace, which is just a way of grouping them. Third, you just use a simple if statement to swap between showing one or the other. And finally, you apply an animation. That's it. SwiftUI sees those matching IDs, connects the dots, and automatically creates that gorgeous, fluid morphing animation for you.
So let's just recap the journey we've been on. We went from a simple change to a full-on physics-based illusion. We started with the most basic idea, a simple state change. Then we gave it a personality with animation curves. We made it feel real with springs. And then we topped it all off by creating this absolutely stunning shape-shifting illusion.
So why does any of this matter? Because great animation is not just window dressing, it's not just decoration. It is a powerful, essential form of communication. It guides the user's eye to where it needs to go. It gives you clear feedback confirming that your action worked. It defines an app's unique personality and feel. And maybe most importantly, it makes an interface feel natural, intuitive, and just delightful to use.
So I'm going to leave you with a question. The next time you're using your favorite app, I want you to look closer. Don't just see the animation as code. See it as a deliberately crafted experience, one that's designed to guide you and to delight you. As you move through your digital world, look at the way things move and bounce and transform, and ask yourself, what story is this animation trying to tell me? I think you'll be surprised by what you find.